Hello guys, BoomBren back, and today we are continuing our series about making a indie game. And today we'll be continuing by making a model for a gun, which we will put in the game in the next episode. Whoops. So, first we're gonna make the model for a gun, okay? And I'll go over some basic techniques in Blender, okay? So I would definitely suggest watching some basic controls of Blender video before doing this if you're trying to follow along or anything, because I don't feel like I want to get to that level, but just how I make certain parts of the gun and stuff. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to hit in and then load up the thing. You won't see it because then I'll be showing you all my files and stuff, so you won't be seeing any of this right now, but I'll have the picture loaded up. I do add image. Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and drag up the opacity to 100. I usually like to work in orthographic mode. I just find it easier. And I hit 5 to go in orthographic mode on the numPad, and then 1. So I'm looking at it from the side view. And right, you can see this is I forget what this gun's called, but it's a repeater rifle. I think it holds 7 rounds, and it loads into the back, right back here, and yeah. So I'm just going to, so first off, we're going to take our cube, and I'm going to position it right near the butt of the rifle, okay? And I'm going to hit Z, and then tab to go into edit mode, and Z to make it clear. So make sure it's in the corner. And not including the metal thing, I'm going to make the butt, okay? So now I'm going to hit B, select all, G, move it over here. And then same thing, select this, move it about right here, and then select this, and move it about right here. Yep, that'll be good. And so now, I'm going to, you see how, if I look at it, it's just kind of like a little box. It doesn't look detailed well at all. So what I'm going to do is, if I hit Control R and make this extra vertices, this extra edge, I can select this edge and move it in closer to make it look better. And I'll do this a couple times to look the best possible. I like to do this little grid pattern where I make a grid and I shape it the best as possible. I see there's an edge right here which could use some tweaking, so I'll do that. And then up here, I'm going to want a edge right up here at the top, right here. And I'll move this to right here. And that looks a lot better, on that end at least. Could still use a little bit of work. But yeah, I'm just going to fast forward while I do this all the way around the gun, including these sides, and yeah, see you in a sec. Okay, so I did that. That's a pretty decent shape. That's going to see what they got, including this little metal butt on the back. And yeah. So now I'm going to make it skinnier just for, you know, for reference sake. I mean, it's not going to be exact right now. This isn't going to be the exact size of it, but it helps me visualize it better. See, that looks a whole lot better. Okay. So now I'm probably going to actually keep going a sec. And I'll extend this over here. And I'll eventually expand it out, okay? And you'll see this, and I'll be shaping it around this little wooden area, okay? I'll fast forward for that. So as you can tell, I'm just right now trying to shape this in the form of the gun. And like I said earlier, you're probably going to want to watch a tutorial of basic controls. Right now, I'm using B to select, to do that little highlight select. That's one of the big things. And I'm also using E to extend, R to rotate, and certain tools like that. But nothing too complex as of the current moment. And now I've got this looking thing. Okay, so from this point, before I start getting too much into the details of this little metal part right here, I'm just going to try and make the basic shape, okay? So what I'm going to want to do, I'm probably going to want to make this section a little bit thicker. And so how I'll be doing that, this little area is going to be thicker. So what I'm going to do is, whoopsie daisy, is I'll select these edges, these faces, okay? I'll do extend, escape, scale to scale them out, but I'll do it on I'll scale it scale them out a bit, and then I'll extend it out a bit. But let me change the scaling. I just want to scale it out a tiny bit. Out. And then E, escape, scale, down, escape. And then make this. Now I just have to make this the shape of the gun up to this little metal part. And I'll do that real quick, and then you'll see me again. Okay. Not too complex. You have to remember when you're making these models that no one's actually going to be able to see the actual original picture you're making it off of, so it doesn't have to be exact. You want to make it look like the gun, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now that I have that looking decent and good, I'm going to make this little extended area. And after we do that, I'll be getting into some of the more techniques that I use when making stuff like this, okay? So this will be brief, and I'll be back in 1 second. Oh yeah, before I do that, I usually like to add one vertex right at the top of wherever I'm extending, so that I can just select the faces like this, and it just extends. Well, okay, back to fast. And in case you guys didn't catch it, I'm using G, the G key, to move stuff around. So there we go. Now I've got the basic just shape of the gun. And so now we're going to be going over some of the other techniques that I like to use. So first off, adding the barrel, obviously. It's going to be the most important thing that our gun is missing, okay? So usually for this, I'll select the camera, and then I'll make a new mesh that is a cylinder, so that way in the menu up here, the cube and the cylinder are separate. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, so it's facing the right direction, And then I'll move it to the end of the barrel usually. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's the light. It's the lamp. I'm just going to delete the lamp. We don't need the lamp. So go back on the cylinder, and I'll go invisible. So tab. So I'll move the middle vertex to right there on the end, and then I'll scale it down until it's the right size, about ish, to be the barrel, and I'll put it at the end like this, and then I will want to hit 7 to get top view. I will want to line it up right with this in a sec, but let me just get the length first. So I'll select this face, and I'll move it down. Oh wait, I move it past here, and so like that, so it looks like it's good enough. That's all we need in life, is good enough. And it's not on the right thing, so I'm gonna push it over here, so it's on top of this, and it's actually a pretty good size. I made the thing. It actually looks pretty good. Probably won't change it at all. It looks fine. So now I'm gonna go into my cylinder, no, my cube. Doesn't really matter. And I am going to go. I'll do it on my cylinder. I'll go to this little wrench, which is the modifiers, and then I'll add a Boolean modifier, which will allow me to like combine objects, subtract areas of objects. Anyway, so right now we're going to use it to combine these two objects together, because you can't have objects that are crossing over each other because they don't render right in Unity. And I'll make them union. And the object we're meshing with is cube, so then we do apply. And now the cube, it's just one, but the cylinder, the cylinders, all of it, so we're going to delete the cube. And now we have the cylinder, which is all one combined mesh. So you can see if I look in tab, that it's how weird the barrel looks, kind of. The faces where they're situated, that's how you can kind of tell that they're union together, okay? So now I'm going to make this little whatchamacallit right there. And so I'm going to use the same kind of technique for that. I'm going to go into my camera, and I'm going to Shift A circle, though. I'm going to want a circle, okay? I'll rotate it 90 degrees, just like the barrel, so it's the right size. I'll fill it, and I'll extend it. I'll fill it. Oh, no, on the right edit. I'll fill it, yes, with F, and then extend it in whichever direction is best. So it would be this way, because you can tell this way it looks darker and this way it's lighter. I don't think it'll render properly if I do otherwise. And now I will situate this about right here. Rotate it over so it's the right thing, and I'll make it just slightly bigger than that. Okay, and now I'll go back on 7 and push it right where it needs to go, and then scale it on the y-axis a bit so that it looks like this. It looks decent. It doesn't look great, but it looks decent, okay? That's all we matter, right? That's all that matters. So now I am going to merge this with the Boolean thing just like I did last time. Circle, cylinder, circle, cylinder, circle. So we're going to delete cylinder. Whoops. Okay, when you do something like that, do Control Z to undo. No, I didn't hit apply. Dang it. Apply. And then I can delete the cylinder. And I'll just left the circle, okay? So this looks pretty good. And we'll go into, I don't know if I'll go in today. We'll see how long the video is of how to texture it, but I'll definitely go into how you will get it to look decent texture. If not, I'll make it 2 videos, and it'll be fine. So now I will work on the iron sights next. So looking down from this, it doesn't have perfect because you can tell the barrel is slightly tilted down That's how it usually looks on my models, but it doesn't matter because whenever we make the iron sights aiming down the sights in Unity, it will just basically be lining up on the one point. We just have to make sure that looks decent, the one end point. So it looks like the iron sights on this consist of something right there and something right there. So I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called. Just something. And I'll Control R. Actually, I can't do that. I'm just going to do the whole old-fashioned combine method like I was doing. And you'll see me in a sec. Okay, so that looks pretty good. For the front iron sights, so I'm just going to combine that actually. So never mind what I'm saying. Okay, so now we have this. Looks pretty good, you know? You see? Decent enough. So now let's add, you know, a little front bit. Doesn't even, I don't even usually go along with what these usually look like. But heck, why not? How do I want to do this? I'll probably just make a little triangular thing and then 2 circles on each side, and I'll fast forward through this for you guys. But I'm just going to do the same union thing kind of, but with multiple objects. Okay? You'll see what I'm doing in fast forward. So now, as you can see, it is there. It doesn't actually look so good. I might just do something a bit different. What should I do for the iron sights on this? I'll just do something quite simple here. I'll probably just I'll make split this into 4ths, and I'll just make areas like this go up. So it looks like this. And that looks decent. It'll, in the Unity engine, it'll be like this. And that looks good. It'll be fine. It doesn't have to be completely accurate. Like I said, my guns aren't completely accurate. And now I'm going to add this little trigger holder. Like, when you're actually, like, reloading guns or something about, like, pulling this, but I'm not going to make kind of animation like that for now. But, I don't know. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this little area. I'm going to extend it out. It's crossing over that, though. I'll just click on these then. And I'll extend it out. Rotate it. Extend it. And that's all we're going to do. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to make this more better. And you'll see fast forwarding. This is a lot of the same stuff. It isn't too complicated, just in case you can't tell. You just need to know the keybinds pretty much for what level I'm working at. Just in a very high level in case you can't tell. So yeah. Okay, so as you can tell from this, I very much have strained from the original what it actually looks like, but it looks fine for right now. Actually, maybe I'll extend this make it like this. And I'll do this, but it looks pretty decent, I think. So now, that's pretty simple. Now, I'll add the trigger, which shouldn't be too hard. I'm just going to make a little area that I want the trigger to be, and make it a bit skinnier, like about half the size of the trigger guard. And da-da-da. Whoop. Pow. There we go. And I'll scale this down on this x-axis. And I'll just straighten this up, and yep. Okay, so there's the trigger, and I think it looks pretty nice. Now, all we have to add is this little thing that's popping up, okay? I think it's called the hammer or something. Not 100% sure. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm going to use these vertices to make the basic shape that we start with on the bottom, which is going to be this little circular area. And the picture is really fuzzy, so I'm just going to have to do this by how I think it should go. And I make it a little circular thing, and then I select all the faces which need to be selected, and then I extend it out slightly. Okay, and then I will select these faces, which I'm holding down shift to select multiples, and then I'll pull it up here and make it the correct shape. So, like we've been doing the whole time, but to hide all these areas, like so, say that I want to hide all of this. So never mind, I won't do that. But you can hit H to hide. Let me just make these edges look nice. That looks decent enough. It looks pretty bad, but looks decent enough. That's all we're shooting for. So now I'll just go up here. I'll extend this up and finish things off. Okay, so this looks fine. Doesn't look great, but it looks fine for the game. And yeah, that's basically how I model it. So, yep. And this video isn't long enough, so this is our finished product that we got. And actually, first, I'll keep this on speed. So now, guys, I'm going to make a little extrusion right here to load the ammo in. So what I will do is I will shift A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same Boolean thing I was doing before, but with the cylinder this time. I am going to I'm going to make it substitute instead of subtract instead of so I'm going to make this long. And then I will insert it into there. and it'll have a little hole. So now when I go into my here, add modifier boolean, I'll make it subtract difference. Oh, actually I need to do that on the cube. You just can't really tell until you tried it for the first time. And apply. There we go, now we've got the hole in it. So we'll use that for a reload thing later. And so yeah, that's the end of the model. I think it looks pretty decent. I'll add the textures later, but we won't go into that in this tutorial. Maybe at a later date. But yeah, that's all for this tutorial, guys. Slash whatever, it's not really a tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next episode, I guess. BoomBren out.